So, I'm reading Dave Tomar's latest article on the Huffington Post about the whole college cheating scandal, and I can't help but try to answer certain questions that were raised um, as I was reading. Um, what is cheating? Um, what is outsourcing? Um, what is outsourcing with respect to cheating? And is cheating good? Now, to answer one of the questions, probably the easiest question to answer is, what it is cheating good? Um, to me, no, but not always. No. Um, I say that in the most pragmatic sense. In order to get ahead, if you can cheat, then cheat. Uh, but it's absolutely immoral. It can be illegal. In a lot of cases, it isn't illegal. You can find ways to cheat without breaking any rules. But if you hold yourself to a high moral standard, then you won't choose to find those loopholes. You won't choose to find them. You won't choose to utilize them. Now, these students who cheat, and I'm going to tell you this right now, um, I am probably what you consider a shadow scholar. Um, Dave Tomar has been dubbed the shadow scholar. I'm just a little guy. Um, I started back in '05. Started doing papers for students. Started doing math homework for students later on, which turned into science homework and programming homework. Um, the students come to me now with with basically one thing in mind. They have to get ahead, and in order to get ahead, they have to have the numbers. And the numbers are grades, GRE scores, LSAT scores, um, SAT scores. I have a lot of high school students. Their parents, come to me sometimes. Um, they want to get ahead, but the only way to get ahead is to show that you're competent on paper. And in order to do that, you have to yield certain grades. You have to obtain um, grades within a certain percentile. Um, so you can't really expect to land that internship or to land that job if you have if you slap on your resume, hey, I have something, I have a 2-1. It's not, it's in a lot of cases you won't land the interview or you won't land a job, but um, in a lot of cases you will. Uh, but those cases are a lot harder to find. Um, and you can't really blame the companies because if they have thousands of people fresh out of college applying to their company to work for them, then they have to sift through thousands and thousands of resumes. And how do you uh, downsize your scrutiny, your uh, the amount of scrutiny that you have to give your resume pile? How do you downsize that? You find you find the quantitative stuff, which is the numbers. You find the stuff that will narrow down the workload to something that you can put your thumb on. And sadly, that's numbers. Um, so it's like, okay, if you have like 1,000 resumes, you can say, hey, well, I won't look at any resumes for those who have on their resume anything below a 3.5, coming out of college, a cumulative GPA of 3.5. I won't look at anyone who has anything below that. I don't care if it's a 3, 4. I'm not looking at anyone who's below that. And anyone who doesn't have their GPA on their resume, I'm not looking at them. Now you've just knocked down your entire 1,000-page assignment to something that's within the range of maybe 100 or 150. And if you have to work efficiently, that's probably the most practical, most ideal, well, not ideal, but the most um, tangible, the best way to go about it. It's at least for business. And so you can't really blame the employer in terms of that. But the thing is that these employers are sort of helping to drive this whole uh, dystopia that school has become. Because now you have a bunch of people who are following suit, who are, conforming, who are becoming indoctrinated by this whole crazy uh, narrow thought pattern, uh, this whole idea that you have to you're going to school to get grades, get grades, get grades, get grades. You're not going to school to learn. You're going to school to get grades, to get high grades. So you have these employers who are kind of helping to drive that, and then you have professors. Remember, the employer is only one piece of the equation. So you have these employers who are helping to drive that, and then you have these professors who are under pressure from their administrators, because they have to make students who can perform well on standardized exams to compete with other institutions, and then the institutions are under the pressure of maybe the government to compete with other countries. So you have like um, this big bubble of institutions who are so focused on generating people who yield high numbers that the people who are forced to yield these numbers don't value school the way it was initially expected to be valued at. And that brings me back to cheating. So you have all these students who are trying to compete with other students to get the best grades. Um, so they're not too interested in learning or coming out of school competent. They're more interested in coming out of school with the numbers that show that they might be competent. And of course, that's a big problem, because if you don't have competent individuals going out into the workforce, then uh, you 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 lack a large resource for production. Um, so you have people who are coming out with engineering degrees who landed the great grades in engineering in their engineering courses, but just flat out don't know anything about writing code. They don't know anything about doing math. They really don't know anything that they can apply, and that's a problem. So practicality has taken a hit in terms of education. So you have people who are going to things like trade schools and all of that, which I think is great for them. I think it's great for the country that these people are going to these, trade schools and all that, because uh, the stuff that they're learning there is practical. In school, the stuff isn't so practical, and not that it ever was so practical. I can't really say that it ever was. I can't really say that it ever wasn't. I mean that it was at one point and that it isn't now. I can't really say that because for a number of reasons that I won't mention. But the bottom line is that school has become a place where you should be focused on yielding the numbers. Um, Not that it should be that way, but if you're going to go to school, then a large aspect of the way you approach school should revolve around your numbers, the numbers that you yield, the type of degree that you get. Um, so in terms of the whole college cheating scandal, are these students who are buying papers, who are buying homework wrong? I don't think that they're completely wrong. It's like if you have a business, and this relates to outsourcing. If you have a business, right, and you have a task at hand, a task that you cannot avoid, you need to do this in order for your business to survive. If you have that task to do, and you only have $500, um, and it costs $300 to hire someone to do that job here in the United States, but you can pay someone in Bangalore, let's say, $200 to do the same exact job. What do you do? Do you outsource to Bangalore, or do you keep work internal? Do you keep the load here in this country? And that's a big part of this whole presidential debate, this whole presidential campaign, everything, because jobs are being outsourced. The bottom line is that um, when profit margin sucks, when you're not really getting um, what you want out of a deal because you have to pay a worker a large sum of uh, of what you're getting out of that deal entirely. When that's shot, when that sucks, then um, people are mad. That's basically how it goes. The people who are behind the business are mad, and so it's like is the outsourcing a bad thing for business? Outsourcing is great. Um, the you're basically going to have to outsource at some point in order to produce on a large scale. Um, for small businesses, that probably isn't the greatest thing. It might not be the greatest thing. You probably won't need to outsource as a small business. Um, maybe not. But with the whole tech boom that's going on, the whole startup boom, the whole tech startup boom, you're finding that a lot of small tech startups are actually outsourcing. So there goes that. So and I mean, but then you have to question it. Is it cheating? Is it any sort of cheating in some way? And what kind of values are you, uh, exposing to the public by openly outsourcing? Um, I mean, it's like the students are outsourcing their work. So can you like knock them? Can you? How far does the definition of outsourcing extend? Well, I think we all should question that before we go ahead and you know chastise those who cheat or outsource. It's like and how different is outsourcing from cheating? Is outsourcing cheating? Is cheating, well, we can't say that cheating is outsourcing necessarily, but is outsourcing cheating? I don't think it is. Um, if it's legal, um, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things that are up for debate. But considering the way the state of education is, um, is buying a paper, should that be considered outsourcing? Is buying a paper outsourcing? Is buying your science homework? Is buying your math homework outsourcing? I think that's outsourcing. By definition, it's outsourcing. It's basically getting someone to do work that you're supposed to do. But then how do you define what you're supposed to do? I don't know, but we haven't figured it out yet. And there are a lot of people who are obviously going to refute what I say here. But I mean, when you look at it objectively, these students who are cheating, who are buying these papers, who are buying this homework, those students are really just outsourcing. That's the bottom line. There's a job that they have to do, and they're getting it done, not by themselves. They're working for the money. They're getting the money, and they're using the money to get something done. I mean, I can't say that's completely wrong. But then again, where do we draw the line? Where do we say, okay, well, you can be this ambitious and this far up to this point. I don't know, but you guys can probably give me a great you guys could probably give me some great feedback because I've been trying to figure this out for a long time, especially being someone who is probably considered one of those shadow scholars, one of those guys who does work in the background for other students for monetary gain or for, gains in terms of knowledge and stuff like that. Because I love to learn. And if you ever want to learn a lot of things, just do this. Do other work for other students, okay? Because you will not do that without learning. So if you are in college and you'd like to learn, try doing your partner's work. Someone in another class. I'm telling you, it works. But on a serious note, we have to answer that question. What is cheating? How do we define cheating, especially in academia? How do we define outsourcing in academia? And is it necessary? Is any of it necessary? Is cheating necessary? Is outsourcing necessary in terms of business? Is outsourcing necessary in schooling? Try to answer those questions. I guarantee it'll have you scratching your head within 5 minutes of thinking about it. So, until next time, guys.